A321 IAE with sharklets, namely in the WizzAir livery. Today we're doing a daily WizzAir flight from Gdansk in Poland over to Aerosofts brand new Dortmund scenery. At this point, thank you very much to Aerosoft for providing me with that scenery. Dortmund is a very interesting airport as it features only 2,000 meters of landing run plus a displaced threshold, making it really borderline for A321 operations. Nowadays, WizzAir only operates the Neo into Dortmund, but in the past they used to use the A321 CO as well, so that's what we are gonna do today. So follow me inside as we're about to set up our A321 for today's service. And we're going to start right here in the cockpit. The plane is cold and dark, it's early in the morning, so things have to be powered up first. So starting down here, engine master levers off, mode selector normal, thrust levers idle, the landing gear lever is down, the wipers are off, and the battery voltage is more than 25.5. Then let's turn on the batteries, let's turn on the external power, and that starts the entire power-up process. Things do take a little while now until the aircraft is fully set up, so we can make good use of that time to set our audio controls correctly here. So basically we want the ATC frequency, we want the emergency frequency, and then we also want the speaker to be set correctly and the correct selections to be made down here on the audio control panel. Now, while the aircraft is still powering up, let's go ahead and import our flight from SimBrief. And here it is, Gdansk to Dortmund. Let's head over into the flight plan here and have a quick look. The weather in Gdansk currently, a couple of clouds and some light snow showers. Every now and then temperature 1 degree. Dortmund on the other hand side, very good weather conditions, Cav OK. And our alternate Cologne-Bonn is also pretty good. Some prop 30 gusts over here, but almost down the runway, so nothing to worry about. Now, one thing that is pretty important today is not just to look at the flight plan up here, but to actually determine, can we land at our destination? We know that our structural landing weight up here is 77.8 tons, but with an extraordinary short runway like the one in Dortmund, it's very worth it to go a little bit further down here into the dispatch calculations. And we can see down here they've done a landing dispatch calculation for our destination airport Dortmund. And basically what we're looking for over here is the performance limited landing weight. Today we can see that we can land at the structural maximum landing weight, but depending on the conditions, especially if things start to get wet or snowy, that's when things start to go downhill. But today we can land. Now, if you don't have these kind of calculations available in your flight plan, then you would actually have to go to the landing app over here and already do some preliminary landing calculations on the ground before your departure. So with that decided, we can go up a little bit again. Scheduled off block is at 5:15, so that's in about 12 minutes. And if we depart on time, we are going to arrive like 15 minutes early. So for this reason, no reason to take any extra fuel over here. That means if we now go down, we can see that our planned fuel is about 6.2. If we round that up to 6.3 to cover the APU usage to heat up the cabin, that's absolutely fine. So let's head over into the ground services, into the mass and balance, load up the fuel, and we said we wanted to take 6.3 like this, and then we can apply and load the aircraft, and you can use GSX for both, please. Alright, so with that out of the way, let's go ahead and turn our IRS mode selectors into nav. The cockpit lights are basically set the way we need them to be. Our EFB is also set up already, then we can do the aircraft's technical acceptance. So recall, 1, 2, 3, and that's looking normal, nothing of any concern over here. The aircraft's logbook is fine as well. Configuration summary, it's an A321 IAE. Pretty modern configuration. We do have automatic nav on go around, and that's pretty much it. We don't have any OEBs for today's aircraft, so with that it is accepted for service. Now let's go back into the EFB and do our preliminary takeoff calculations over here. So Gdansk 29, let's make it a wet runway just to be on the safe side. Synchronize the preliminary load sheet here and the live weather as well. Okay, view intersection data, we don't have any, so it's got to be the full length, and that's looking pretty good. Takeoff performance limit is 95.5, so that's pretty good as well. Alright, very good. Then let's flight controls, side stick fault, calibrate null zones. Okay, we are just gonna clear that one away. And we don't even want it to come back. Alright, so oxygen quantities are good, hydraulic quantities are all good, engine oil quantities are very good. Flaps are up in agreement with the lever, the speed brakes are retracted. Then let's release that park and brake here and press our brake pedals. And we can see that our brakes are working just fine. So park and brake is set again, and that's our general aircraft acceptance completed. Refueling is in progress. Then let's go down here and into the ATSU. So first of all, let's say hello, flight init, flight data request, and that's going to initialize our ADRs. And once that is done, here it is, let's go into the received messages. We have two load sheets down here. The edition number 1, 0 fuel, is 69.3. Takeoff fuel looking okay, 228 passengers today, so we're pretty full. And apart from that, I don't have anything abnormal. Alright, so load sheet number 2, let's see. I guess the difference is probably, yeah, down here, fuel in tank 6.3, that equals our order. So let's go ahead and accept that preliminary load sheet down here. Okay, cool. So aircraft status 321-200 with the IAE engine, nav database current at the time of the recording. And flight plan request. Alright, cool. So we'll just clear that warning away. Alright, cool, then let's start our pre-flight procedures. So oxygen crew supply coming on, flight recorder ground control coming on. CVR test is looking good, evacuation by captain only, and everything up there is set. Then strobes auto, nav on logo 1, fueling is still in progress, so we are going to keep the fasten seatbelt sign off for the time being. So APU fire test is looking good, and then let's go ahead and start that APU up as well in order to start warming up the cabin. Then engine fire tests. Looking good, and everything up here is checked, and on the right hand side not much we gotta do, so everything up there is checked as well. Leading us down to the main panel, let's see, the QNH is 1023. Set. Everything set over here, the date is correct. Well, and then we can move down, so 22.8, 21.5. Correct setup on the ACP is done, ground clutter suppression on, weather radar calibrated, weather and turbulence is already selected, very good. Up here everything's set, and on your side everything's set as well. We're flying from the captain's side, so transponder number 1 is selected. Well, and with that done, let's go right into our flight plan. Oop, that was a little lag here. So here we go. Then let's see, our flight number today is going to be the WizzAir 29er Sierra Golf, cost index 15, flight level 360. Alright, so what's the temperature up there? Minus 55. So the tropopause is in 39,000 today. And the ground temperature is 0. So, then onto the flight plan, departing GDANSK off runway 29er via the Dexia 3 hotel departure. And we can insert that one, and then arrival into Dortmund, ILS approach runway 06. Now, yeah, for the sake of planning, let's insert the Domec to Alpha with a Dortmund transition. Realistically though, we will be flying something different, but we can always fix that when we're in the air. Alright, so for the secondary flight plan then, let's have a very quick look into our engine out procedures. And as always, I'm using Blackbox 711's excellent website for that. And here it is. So that's what we've got today, and as you can see down here, The runway 29 engine outset is straight ahead to 90 me Golf Zulu Delta, then a left turn to FNOP and hold. Also, it's noise abatement procedure number 1 today, so a couple of differences compared to our normal operations. So let's go ahead and program that. So we'll go to 90 me from Golf Zulu Delta on a 288 track. So Golf Zulu Delta /288/9. Let's insert that. And thereafter, we are going to make a turn towards FNOP. That's Echo Victor November Oscar Bravo. And hold over there. And I'm just going to use that data here, 288 right-hand turns. That's fine with me. Alright, so immediate return is going to take us back towards GDANSK, so let's enter that, and for the arrival it is going to be an ILS approach runway 29. We don't need to fill any of the rest, so that's good. Alright, cool. So over here we are going to use Golf Zulu Delta, and that's going to be with a 9 DME, 9 mile radius, and FNOP. And then last but not least, I want the extended center line, so Echo Papa Golf Delta 29er, and that should be, let's see, 287 degrees. Alright, so let's have a quick look at what we have just created. So this is what it looks like, and this is what it looks like on the secondary flight plan. Let's just make sure that we can... Well, I would like to delete this one here, but I'm afraid the Phoenix is a little bit bugged there. For that reason, I'm not going to touch it, but let's make the PBD point an overfly waypoint just to be on the safe side. So this is what things are going to look like in case of an engine out. Alright, very good. So that stuff is entered. Then let's go on to the init page and see what we've got. So zero fuel is 69.3. And since we don't know any CG yet, I'm just going to use 25, the fuel 6.3. And then for our fuel values, we have an alternate fuel of 1.3. Final reserve 1.2, and 200, that's fine with me. Should be 300 for the reserves to be absolutely precise. So wind component is a headwind at 43 knots, and that basically finishes up the fuel predictions. Then let's go on to our performance and copy what we've just had over here, or to be lazy, I'll just use send to MCDU. The only thing we have to work on is the thrust reduction and acceleration altitudes. So first of all, engine out acceleration is 2000, and then thrust reduction and acceleration. Remember, we get those from black box as well up here. So that's going to be 1990 and 3490. Like this. Alright, transition altitude 6,500. Let's have a quick look if that is actually correct. So, Dexia 3 Hotel departure. You can give me the day charts, please. Yep, 6.5 is correct. And for the SID itself, straight ahead to Golf Delta 541, maximum 220 above 4,500. That's what we have over here. Left-hand turn, Golf Delta 542 above 7,000, we have that one. And then we continue on towards Dexia above level 100. With a 543 in between? Yeah, with a 543 in between. Alright, and Dexia above level 100, so that's all looking good. Alright, excellent. So with that, we have pretty much inserted everything that we need. So, Echo Papa Golf Delta 29 for the fixed page as well. We don't have any step climbs today. The cruise is nicely situated between the optimum and the maximum. That's looking excellent. And that basically covers our inputs. Then let's set up our FCU as the last thing here. Quick check. Initial altitude is not published. Okay, and it's probably going to be something If the MSA is 2.7, then it's probably going to be something about 4,000 or so. I'll just use 4,000 for the time being, that will be fine. Fueling is complete, so signs on and APU bleed on in order to warm it up. Here we go. That should also kill the fault lights on the packs. Typical Airbus problem, those are not supposed to show even if the APU bleed is off, but here we go. Number 1 is operating, number 2 will follow suit. Alright, happy with that. Then external power can already be removed, and then we can start our departure briefing, please. Alright, cool. So we are departing GDANSK runway 29, and our departure is the Dexia 3 hotel departure. Initial climb 4000, MSA 2700. The temperature is +1, so we don't need any temperature correction down there, and extra fuel is 0. Thanks. No hotspots for our taxi out, and the engine out is straight at 25 miles. Stop margin, just a couple meters to be honest. And actually my mistake on the engine out, it's straight out to 9 miles from Gdansk VOR, and then we turn towards FNOP, and that's going to be climbing to 3,000 feet, which is above the MSA of 2,700 feet. So, apart from that, what are we gonna do? Well, specials, I don't really have anything. That maximum 220 restriction over there, we'll use 223, that way we can retract the flaps completely. And I have nothing non-standard. Do you see threats for this departure? No? Wonderful. So that's our briefing complete. And look at that, they have just completed the boarding. Then let's say hello to our guests. Well, I'll tell you what, the load sheet has probably just arrived, so let's do that first. Because at some point the ramp agent is eventually gonna call. Alright, so in compliance with edition number 2, that's the Hotel Alpha Lima Tango Foxtrot, which is our aircraft, 2 pilots, 5 cabin crews, 69.2. So we're down 100 kilos, that's fine. And the CG 26.7. Alright, 75.3. And that matches 228 passengers, no infants, very good for the cabin crew. Takeoff CG 26.1, and that's going to be somewhere over here, so something like up 0.5 or so. Yeah, up 0.6 was our initial calculation, I'm happy with that. Alright, cool, so that's our load sheet completed. Then let's see, we'll just order GSX to start working already. Very good, then let's say hello to our passengers. Ladies and gentlemen, a very good morning from the flight deck. This is your captain speaking. My name is Emmanuel in the name of WizzAir. Welcome aboard flight 1661 to Dortmund. Today's flight time has been calculated with 1 hour and 10 minutes at an altitude of approximately 10,300 meters or 36,000 feet. Once again, we'd like to welcome you all on board our Airbus A321. Now, the cabin crew is shortly going to perform the safety demonstration, so please pay careful attention, as that is not just for your own safety, but also for the safety of the passengers sitting around you. Thank you very much for your attention, and once again, welcome aboard. Alright, cockpit preparation checklist, please. Gear pits and covers, removed. Fuel quantity, 6,280 kilogram balanced. Seatbelts on. ADIRS. nav, and barrel ref. QNH 1023. Cockpit preparation checklist complete. Ground from flight deck. Go ahead. Please confirm all doors and hatches are closed, ground curtain is removed, and the bypass pin is installed. That's all confirmed. Okay, thanks. We're getting pushback clearance. So this is the moment we call ATC for pushback. And if we just take a quick look behind, then we do not have any objections against pushing back now. So ground flight deck, yeah, go. So pushback is approved, runway 29er, park and brake set. Roger, runway 29, release park and brakes. Okay, that's gonna be on mic facing east. Park and brake released. Thank you. Start and pushback. Stand by for engine start. Roger. Before start checklist, please. Park and brake. released. Takeoff speeds and thrust. V1 132, VR 148, V2 148, flex 55. Windows. Closed. Beacon on. Before start checklist complete. Alrighty. So we cleared the red line and clear to start the engines. In sequence 1 then 2. Engine 1 start. So M2 is increasing, we're now waiting for fuel flow, and here we go. And we have N1, we have ignition, looking pretty good. Okay, flight deck, the pushback is complete, set your park and brake please. Park and brake set. Thank you very much, stand by. And we have a good start on engine number 1, starting engine number 2. Clear 2. Okay, number 1 is avail, engine 2 start. So, Italian ground crew down there, taking their time. What's the wing walker doing? Oh no, I don't want to see that. Okay, number 2 has ignited, is running up nicely. Alright, ground, we have 2 good engine starts, clear to disconnect, show me the pin on the right, please. Sorry, on the left, please. Have a wonderful day. Bye-bye. And there he is, with the pin in the hands. Beautiful. So, bye-bye. And avail. Excellent. Okay, after start checklist, anti-ice, off, ecom status, checked, pitch trim, that's 26% set, rudder trim, neutral, after start checklist complete, so flight control check please, full up, full down, neutral, full left, full right, neutral, rudder, full left, full right, neutral. Alright, excellent. Clear on the left side, clear on the right side. Brakes released. So it does start to roll on idle, very good. Brake check. Pressure 0. Let's help it a bit in order not to waste any time. Couple percent to get it rolling. Taxi is pretty easy. Straight ahead, right hand turn via Alpha 5 onto Alpha, and then all the way to the full length from 829. Flight controls. Right side stick fault. Calibrate null zones. Yeah, thanks. Clear flight controls. And status. Yeah, in-op system right side stick. Remove status. That's about as easy as it gets, huh? In the real world, obviously, we wouldn't ignore that. Someone did ask us a bit earlier. In the real world, side stick fault, yeah, the plane is grounded. Easy as that. So, A321, a little bit more oversteering than the A320. And now we don't want to go on a Romeo, we want to go on to Alpha. That's the line over here. Okay, so I have no changes. It's actually pretty dry, so shall we just recalculate for dry runway? Just to see if we can maybe save a couple degrees of flex temperature. So 55 previously, 57 now. Still a config 2 takeoff. Okay, I tell you what, let's take that data. So config 2 up 0.6, 57 degrees, that is correct now. And our speeds then are 146, 151, 151. Alright, very good. So, happy with the changes? Yeah? Very good. So then we're just waiting for the cabin to get ready. Technically speaking, we should do the departure change checklist now, but since it's only the speeds and nothing else that has changed, I'm happy to keep things the way they are. That Phoenix model is just looking so good. But that nose wheel is clipping a little bit into the ground there, isn't it? Okay, cabin ready. Taxi checklist. Flight controls. Checked. Flap setting. Conf 2. Radar and predictive wind shear. On and auto. Engine start selector. Norm. Econ memo. Takeoff. No blue. Taxi checklist complete. So, we're not gonna go via Charlie, we'll go one further onto Bravo. And that's gonna be the full length for us. Actually, we'll go one further into Alpha. We really want the full length today. Optimizing our flex temperature, therefore optimizing our trip costs. So, cabin crew, prepare for departure, please. Okay, 29 Alpha 1 is confirmed. The approach area is clear. Lineup checklist. Takeoff runway, 29er Alpha 1, TCAS, TARA, PAX 1 and 2, off, lineup checklist complete. So, happy with the rolling takeoff? Takeoff. Manflex 57, SRS, runway, auto thrust blue. Thrust set. Knots, checked. Rotate. Whoa, little gusty here. Little, very gusty. Positive climb. Gear up. Nav. Checked. And that was an interesting takeoff run. A very interesting one. Thrust climb, auto thrust. So those 21 knots of wind we see up here were a little bit more violent on the ground. Just a little bit. Okay, both packs on and continue climb to flight level 100. 10,000 feet. Climb. Flaps 1. Speed checked. Flaps 1. So in my experience, Poland is very, very good at giving you direct when you make initial contact with departure. For this reason, let's go direct to Dexia already. And insert. That's also relieving us of that 220 knot speed restriction, by the way, so things are just getting easier here. Flap 0. Speed checked. Flaps 0. So accelerating pretty nicely, flying pretty nicely overall. I like it. I really like it. The Phoenix just flies awesome, doesn't it? Nowadays it does. Okay. Autopilot 1. After takeoff flow, flaps up, spoilers retracted, gear up, packs on. Very good. That's our after takeoff flow completed. Set standard. Standard cross-check, passing flight level 66. Now. Checked. So, that was pretty good already. Flight controls, right side stick fault, calibrate null zones. You've said that a couple times already. So, we'll just clear that one away. Alright, cool. So, continue climb to flight level, let's say 200 at first. I think we are certainly going to stay clear. Yeah, we might enter those clouds. Doesn't matter. Engine anti-ice on. And engine anti-ice is on. Yeah, looks like we're staying clear. Okay, engine anti-ice off again. And engine anti-ice off. So, passing level 100. Clear and copy, please. And we can release our guests. Okay, so arrival 0644, and the schedule wants us there at 0655. Now, we are going to make up a little bit of time, as we are not going to fly that arrival that we've got in the FMS at the moment. Dortmund has those very interesting teardrop arrivals, like this, but realistically they are going to radar vector us, so out of Domek over here we'll fly somewhere like this. I'm fairly sure that we are gonna get that, so not worried about that at all at the moment. One thing that we can quickly do though is to go down here into the secondary flight plan. Then let's scroll all the way down. So CI06, and that's on 059. Then let's say CI06 slash, what's that, 059 330 slash 4 miles. Let's enter that over here, and that's going to be you, I hope. Yeah, bearing 1504 miles, that looks about alright. Then after Domek, let's go to the PVD. Like this. 0643, 2.9 tons. And that definitely looks better down there. Alright, very good. With that in mind, cruising 3.6, optimum 3.6, maximum 3.8, so we'll go up to flight level 360, and that's pretty much everything for the time being. So, for now, sit back, relax, enjoy the flight, and then I see you a little bit later on the approach. With that, we are on approach to Dortmund. Now, I did already do the entire setup. You can see we have absolutely wonderful weather. I can count a single cloud over there, one more over there, that's it. So absolutely beautiful flying conditions. The problem is, it's not just beautiful flying conditions for us, it is also beautiful flying conditions for any VFR traffic. And for this we have to take some mitigations, but let's go straight into the briefing and then I'll tell you all about it. Alright, thanks. So we are flying the ILS approach runway 06 in Dortmund, most likely going to be radar vectored. The minimum is 618, the MSA 2,800 roundabout, so 3,000 basically keeps us safe. And extra fuel we have in the form of 600 kilograms, which equals 18 minutes. Alright, thanks for that. So it's going to be a radar vectored ILS approach using flight director guidance. We have to use config full with auto brake medium. If we take a look into the landing calculations, we can see that's the only configuration that works. So if we take auto brakes low, then we are far above the landing distance available. So auto brake medium is basically the only option over here. We will use the reversers in order to be able to do a short turnaround. We'll use manual thrust with flaps full. But we're going to vacate the runway to the right-hand side, most likely at the very end, and no hotspots for the taxi. In terms of specials, I have the approach through Class Echo airspace, so let's have a very quick look into this. If we look down here, we can see parts of VFR profiles with an airspace Class Echo. Watch out for VFR traffic unknown to air traffic control. And let's see if we have some guidance available. No, not really, huh? Okay, well, it doesn't matter. In any case, what I've done to mitigate against that is I've set a target speed of 220 knots below 10,000. You can do that down here on the vertical revision of any of those waypoints. Descent speed limits, 220 below flight level 100. Alright, therefore, maximum use of the autoflight system until we're established on the final approach, and good look outside for any VFA traffic that we may encounter. Alright then, descending below level 100, let's go ahead and do the respective checks already. So the lights are coming on, the seatbelts are on already, then we have constraints and the ILS selected on both sides. And then we do have GPS primary with a high accuracy, and the engine mode selector is in the norm position. Excellent. Alright then. So let's go into the promised radar vector here. Turn left heading 220. So, open descent heading. Okay, extend the center line. And we'll do that from Cola, please. Okay, insert. Full heading. Heading. Excellent. So, those 220 knots are pretty much right at the green dot speed. That means we do not have a lot of drag, and we do not have a lot of options. If we pull the speed brake, chances are VLS is going to come up. So, have to be a little bit careful with our energy management right here. But look at that, 1,100 feet a minute rate of descent isn't optimal, but is okay. So let's continue our descent down to 5,000 feet, and that's set, and then set QNH. (1026). Okay, QNH 1026 cross check, passing 9,300 now. Checked. Alright then, so far so good. Then let's do the approach checklist, please. Barrow RAF, QNH 1026, seatbelts on, minimum, Barrow 618, auto brake, medium, engine start selector, norm, approach checklist complete. Alright, very good. So, to give you guys an idea what it means to fly IFR through airspace class Echo in a jet, respectively at these very high speeds. If two aircraft are approaching one another with 200 knots of closure speed, you basically have around 2 seconds within which you can spot the aircraft and effectively avoid it. Any later than that, and chances are you will no longer be able to avoid the aircraft, even if you spot it before the collision. And to make it even more difficult to spot any such aircraft, basically the only aircraft that are problematic, that are a collision threat, are those which are at a constant spot at the windshield, making it even harder to spot those aircraft. Alright, so we gotta expedite our descent a little bit here. Let's go selected speed, flaps 1, speed checked, flaps 1. And this gives us a lot of margin so that we can use our speed brakes without increasing VLS into our present airspeed, causing the speed brakes to retract again. So that's always something that you have to pay a little bit of attention to when flying Airbus. But once the flaps are out, that's usually no longer a problem. Alright, so descent 4,000. A little bit of terrain down there in the south. You can see the MSA up to 3,700 over there, 2.8 in the north where we are coming from. In any case, since the weather is so good, I'll go onto terrain on my side here. Approaching. Checked. Okay, manage speed. Activate approach phase. And here we go, reducing back towards the S speed. By now we should be within airspace delta again, so not too much of a problem anymore. The problematic part is the one between level 100 and I think 5,500 or so. Not 100% sure anymore, it's been a little while since I've flown in this region. So, 2500 blue, let's get all the way down, and then we should be able to turn base just about a beam collard. We will have a nice 20 knot headwind on our way in, so that's pretty good. Hello, Emmanuel here.
The cabin is now secure for landing.
Thanks. Alright. Speed brakes are going back in. And then turn left, heading 150 for the base vector. And flaps 2. Speed checked. Come on. Flaps 2. Okay, speed 180. And there's our glide slope. We are nicely below it. The ILS is identified at India Delta Whiskey Echo as well. Okay, reducing speed 170. And actually we can go back all the way towards 160. So very low ground speed due to the strong headwind component we've got over here. But that's fine. We just have to take that into consideration when we do our final turn. Speed alt star. Okay, 1.5 miles, that should be good. Left heading 090, cleared ILS 06. Cat 3 dual, autopilot 1 and 2, block star, glide slope blue. Alright, and since we're now established on the final, we know for sure that we will remain in controlled airspace. Alt. So let's do a little bit of manual flight here. Look at how shallow our ILS intercept is. That wind really plays a role here. Of course I'm flying it pretty slowly as well, but fully intentional so that we can have a good look outside for any VFR traffic that we may encounter. Lock. So the airport is basically located in 400 feet. Can always nicely get that from the cruise page down here from the landing elevation. That means once we capture the glide slope, we will basically already continue to configure the aircraft to extend the landing gear and get it ready for landing. The runway is inside, over there. Glide slope start. Go around altitude 3000 set. Glide slope. Right, gear down. Manage speed. Flaps 3. Speed checked. Flaps 3. And flaps full. Speed checked. Flaps full. Landing checklist. Ecam memo. Landing no blue. Landing checklist complete. So, Dortmund coming inside. At this point, once again, thank you to Aerosoft for providing a review copy of it. So, nicely established. Approaching the 1000 foot gate.
1000.
Checked. Looking excellent. So let's make sure we are exactly on the glide, not above or below it. Now, landing a large aircraft like this one on a very short runway, such as the one in Dortmund, only about 1700 meters landing distance available, is certainly interesting. The key is just to put the aircraft right down onto the aiming point. Don't delay the touchdown in order to make it smooth. It won't be smooth if you crash into the fences behind the runway either. So just smack it down onto that aiming point. Land.
100 above.
Checked.
Minimum.
Continue. Disregard the glide slope here. We are on the puppy. And the puppy actually
100.
looks a bit better here.
Glide slope.
Disregard.
40, 30, 20. Retard.
Spoilers, reverse green, decel. And that's exactly how you do this. Manual brakes. And here we go, next exit off to the right. Brakes are probably going to become a little bit warm now, but that's totally fine. They would become even warmer if anything was burning at the end of the runway, right? So, with that, welcome to Dortmund Airport. Always a pleasant difference from those 4-kilometer runways that we are usually approaching, landing on an airport like this. Alright, then let's go ahead and tidy it up. So, quite a couple of hills in this airport. You can see it's going pretty much uphill over there. So, single engine taxi not really recommended. And the cooling time is minimal here anyway. Nonetheless, starting the APU. And then let's do the after landing checklist. Radar and predictive wind shear. Off. After landing checklist complete. Alright, so let's go ahead and get ourselves some GSX parking. And now the big question is, let's see, parking on the ramp. The question is, why did all those lovely parking stands just disappear? Well, okay. In that case, let's take one of the taxi-in stands. I kind of hope to be able to demonstrate the push-in procedure they're using here, but looks like GSX, for whatever reason, doesn't want to show me those stands here in action. Fair enough. Then it's going to be one of the 2 taxi-in stands. So what they have in Dortmund is most of the stands, you basically shut the aircraft down on the taxiway, and then you get a pushback tuck that pushes you tail first into the gate. That way, once your boarding is completed, you no longer need the tuck. All you need is to start up the engines, and off you go. So that's the uphill part over here. You can see how we're losing some speed. I'm actually adding some thrust now. And hereafter, things are gonna go downhill. Let's go back to idle. And now the thing is probably going to accelerate quite a bit on its own. What's our brakes? 115. Yeah, I would have expected a lot more after a landing like this. A lot more. But okay, so be it. So here's all those push-in stands. You'd basically taxi onto that yellow line over there, and then they'd push you into the parking gates. But unfortunately, since GSX is refusing to do this, all we gotta do is to taxi to those 2 stands over there, which actually are taxi in. So down towards 10 knots, and here we go. So stunt number 4, that's going to be ours. Lights going off, and again my typical check, the weather radar is off as well. So let's ensure we don't get too fast. Our marshal is in sight just over there. Looks like the guidance system is actually inoperative today. And that is looking pretty good here. All right, and stop. Cabin crew, all doors in park. Ew, that does not look healthy. But okay, here we go. Engines are running down. So they're disarming the slides. Okay. Ground power is available. Yeah. 10 degrees outside, so let's shut that APU down. Save them a couple of noise emissions, and parking checklist please. Parking brake our trucks. Well, trucks are in, so brake released for cooling. Then engines off, wing lights off, and fuel pumps off. Parking checklist complete. Well, my friends, and with that, welcome to Dortmund Airport. This has surely been an interesting one, and I'm looking forward to do a lot more flights to Dortmund in the sooner future. For the time being though, thank you very much for flying along. As always, I hope that you have really enjoyed your flight. Be sure to leave your feedback in the comments underneath the video. I'm really looking forward to read it. And with that out of the way, thank you very much for watching. As always, like, comment and subscribe, and if you really love what I'm doing on this channel, I would appreciate a small donation through the Buy Me Coffee link in the video description below. Thank you very much for watching, and I'm looking forward to see you all again on the next one.